Hey, welcome inside our Los Angeles studios. This is NBA Today on YouTube. This is the extra stuff, the bits that we do not get to in the 3 o'clock hour on ESPN. The one and only Brian Windhorst, the man who was playing checkers and chess, Austin Rivers, Kendrick Perkins, who we need to get a matching shirt because I really just want to see this. I'm Malika Andrews.
They got a 4X? If they got a 4X,
we can talk cloth talk after.
All right, cool. All right,
fly something in for you, big dog.
Cool.
But he did say it is a crop top. So we need to...
Something along those lines.
Yeah, we need to make sure we work on that.
A little mid-drip.
In addition to talking about mid-drips and Austin's shirt, we spend a lot of time on this show talking about the Western Conference play-in. But there's also a race that's happening at the top of the West between the Timberwolves, the Denver Nuggets, and the Oklahoma City Thunder for that #1 seed. We know the Nuggets. They're proven, Brian. Between those other teams, is there someone you believe in the most? Who do you think is the 1 seed when it's all said and done?
It's going to be Denver, I think, and not because I think that they're dramatically better than the other teams, although they kind of are, is because they have the easiest schedule.
You said that like it's a secret, I feel like.
Far and away, I was just trying to be respectful.
Yeah.
Far and away, they have the easiest schedule, and regardless, obviously there's going to be health situations, but Denver is just better positioned to have more wins in the remaining games, just very simply. And so that's why I think Denver's going to get it. And you know Denver plays so well at home. They know they're good on the road. They are great, almost unbeatable at home. They're going to be incentivized to get it, and I think that's what's going to happen.
I agree with you, but who needs it is the Minnesota Timberwolves, especially with Karl Anthony Towns being out. Any advantage that could go into their favor, they actually need it, right? I feel like, you know, Minnesota, they've established a place in that home court where it's a tough environment to play in. They have some signature wins there. Anthony Edwards feeds off the energy of the crowd, and, you know, you need your role players to play better at home. So the Minnesota Timberwolves need to finish with the #1 spot.
Yeah, I agree with Perk. You know, we keep looking out the window for all these teams. I think OKC's future is a little bit, you know, we talk about longevity, all the draft picks they have. They got a whole time period. Now, obviously, Shea is now, so they're trying to push now, and Chet has come on. But Minnesota's timeline is a little bit different. You know, Mike Conley's an older player, obviously.
Yep.
You know, Karl Towns isn't a rookie. Rudy Gobert isn't a rookie. These guys are veteran basketball players now. So, I mean, this window for them is win now. So any advantage that they can have with the lack of playoff experience coming from their best player without Karl Towns, I think them having a home court advantage would be vital for them. And, you know, I look forward to seeing between them and OKC who can execute in the playoffs. We got two teams, you know, anchored by young talent who don't have playoff experience. It'll be very exciting to see.
And if you're a Laker fan, and I know there's a couple of them out there, you're watching this kind of closely because you're trying to envision how you're going to chart some sort of path in the playoffs like you did last year. The Lakers can't beat the Nuggets. They just can't. But Oklahoma City, they have some success against. 3 out of 4 this year. They have certain advantages in that series because of height. If you're a Lakers fan, you're hoping for the Thunder to get that 1 seed because I think the Lakers are going to be the 8-9. The best they're going to be able to do is the 8 seed. And so there's other implications out there than just those teams at the top.
I want to stick with the Timberwolves for just a second, though, because I think when we think of Anthony Edwards, he just has endless potential to be a face of this league for years and years to come. But it's interesting to think about the timelines of everybody else on that team and the bill that they are slated to pay if they want to keep this team together. So what is at stake, Brian, for the Timberwolves?
Well, first off, I don't even know whether the Timberwolves are going to have new owners. The new owners are supposed to complete the sale by the end of March. I guess they'll be able to do that, but the new owners are having trouble putting the money together to buy the team, okay? So now you're asking a franchise that's having difficulty just making an ownership sale to potentially pay an enormous tax bill starting next year. I don't like it. And, like, they can keep their star players together. They don't have to, like, trade Anthony Edwards, but they might have to trade Naz Reid. And Naz Reid's a very important player to them.
Yes.
And we haven't had clarity from the new owners, led by Mark Lowry, about whether they're going to be a taxpayer because the current ownership, Glenn Taylor, has almost never paid the tax in the last 20 years. So the ownership piece of that is almost as important as how they're going to keep their roster together. And I hate to talk about, like, salary cap machinations when you're looking at a team that's having their best season in 20 years. But it's just the way it is.
But it's important because when you talk about the Denver Nuggets, you have faith in what this team is, what this team has proven, and what we expect them to be, at least for this window here with Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. OKC, like you mentioned, they have this runway. The Timberwolves, it's not exactly the case.
Yeah, no, people, I think, sometimes look at Ant and just automatically just throw the whole team. But they do have young talent. I mean, Jaden McDaniels is a really talented young player as well as Naz Reid. But the other key vital pieces to that team that make them this, especially if we're talking defense, they got the #1 defense in the league. The biggest part of that is Rudy Gobert. You know what I mean? That's a big deal. These guys are in the back half of their career. So, it's that timetable is a little bit quicker for them.
I want to go back to the Denver Nuggets. I don't feel like they have to have the #1 seed to get through the West. No, I'm not saying
I agree with you.
They don't have to have the #1 seed to get through the postseason. Like yesterday I said it, on Countdown, we anointed the Boston Celtics for having the best starting five in basketball at the beginning of the season and throughout this season. And we totally disrespected the Denver Nuggets, and I'm guilty of that. They actually have the best starting five in the NBA because they actually got it done. And when you watch this team play, Michael Porter Jr. looks 100% healthy. We haven't seen him healthy in a long time. He has been balling after the All-Star break. Caldwell Pope, what he brings to the table, don't get talked about enough. We know the big, or if you want to call it tangible, that, connection that Jokic and Aaron Gordon has, and Jamal Murray being, in my opinion, the best Robin or a second best player in the league. Because when it comes to meaningful minutes and that meaningful moment, he rises to the occasion like no other.
Well, and you said there was a time where you were leaning towards Jason Tatum as your MVP.
Your
criteria was your best player on the best team. Now, are you leaning towards Nikola
Malika,
Jokic?
you know how much weight it takes to knock me off my square? Jokic type weight.
One of these?
Yeah, well, not like
squares?
Jokic type weight. And he has knocked me off my box. Right? I was always going when it comes down to the MVP, best player with the best record, and he has completely changed my mindset. That's how powerful he's been in his play, what he's done after the All-Star break throughout the course of this season. And right now, not only is he the best player in the league, but he's the MVP frontrunner.
I think the MVP frontrunner should be Shea, in my opinion. You look at OKC's team, they're talented, but they're very young. For him to be anchoring this team, he scores 30 every single night, not to mention he's leading the league in the steals. He's playing on both sides of the basketball, up to 6 assists on the year. If you look at his numbers versus Jokic, they're more impressive down the line, with the exception of percentages, but that's because Jokic takes different shots. He lives in the paint. We look at the way Shea closes games and the way he shreds every defender. It's like Brunson, but like on acid. I mean, he's like a different level. He's like Brunson, but 6'5" and athletic. This dude, for me,
it's not the metaphor I thought you were going to go.
No, I know. I think Shea, just especially small town, man, small market. All those things, man. I like Shea as the MVP. I really do.
It's hard for me. Nikola Jokic is inevitable, so it's hard for me to say anything but expect the Nuggets, if everybody stays healthy, to win the West and no matter what seed they are.
Can I just make one request? If Nikola Jokic wins a third MVP, that whenever they do the video tribute or that it's unrelenting, the lightning is coming when he comes out and when he runs down the hallway and does that. That's my only request for that.
And he's right.
Yeah, he's right.
The lightning is coming.
Yeah, the lightning and I was going to say the Thunder might need to wait because the lightning is coming from Nikola Jokic. The top of the West is going to be something we're going to be watching over these next couple of weeks because, as our friend Kendrick Perkins says, the playoffs, particularly in the Western Conference, they really have already started. That's going to do it for us, NBA Today on YouTube. You can catch us at 3 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. For now, signing off. We'll see you there. NBA,